All right, so we're diving into Liechtenstein today.
Liechtenstein.
You know it for its banks.
Yeah.
But there's so much more to it than meets the eye, right?
Way more.
We're going deep with this YouTube documentary.
Okay.
It's called Liechtenstein, How Farmers Became Bankers.
Catchy title.
And it's from the channel, the Full Documentaries.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, they're great. So
Yeah.
get ready for some twists and turns because we're about to find out how this tiny nation
All right.
went from farms, struggling farms,
Yeah.
to a global financial hub.
It is pretty fascinating. When you think about Liechtenstein,
Yeah.
it's like this tiny, landlocked country nestled in the Alps.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think financial powerhouse, would you?
Not at all. No.
Oh.
So the documentary starts way back
Okay.
in 1699
Wow.
with Liechtenstein's actual beginning.
Okay.
It was the unification of two baronies
Right.
that were purchased by a prince nicknamed the Rich.
The rich.
Okay. Ironically, his subjects were anything but rich.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So like a rags to riches story,
Yeah.
but it's the country that goes through the transformation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating contrast.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of sets the stage for a lot of Liechtenstein's early struggles.
Yeah, for sure.
Like the documentary touches on this really dark period with widespread witch hunts.
Oh, wow.
Over 200 people were burned at the stake.
Out of a population of...
Out of a population of only 3,000.
That's wild. That's a huge percentage.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
And they even mentioned the toll hawkers.
As toll hawkers.
Which were descendants of those accused witches who faced ostracization
Really?
for generations.
Wow.
It's crazy, right?
It makes you think about how deeply fear and suspicion can impact a society for so long.
For generations.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a reminder that, progress isn't always like a straight line. Sometimes it takes a really long time to heal from those past traumas.
Totally.
So then we get to the Napoleonic Wars.
Okay.
Which was obviously devastating for many.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a turning point for Liechtenstein.
This is where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
Because Liechtenstein's prince at the time, Johann, was actually an enemy of Napoleon on the battlefield.
Wow, okay.
But they maintained a diplomatic relationship throughout the war. I mean, talk about...
Skilled diplomat.
Yeah.
Walking a tightrope.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it paid off, right?
It did, yeah.
Despite being on the losing side, Johann, I secured Liechtenstein's continued existence.
Yeah.
But what's even more intriguing is that Napoleon's reforms...
Like what?
Things like compulsory education, the abolishment of serfdom, they actually planted seeds of progress in Liechtenstein.
Interesting how that...
Like unintended consequences, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's talk about, finding opportunity in the middle of all this chaos.
Makes you wonder if those reforms would have happened otherwise.
Who knows?
Yeah.
It's really hard to say.
So that sets the stage for their first taste of real prosperity.
Okay.
I would have guessed banking.
Yeah, me too.
But the documentary says it was textiles.
Textiles.
Yeah. They had this booming textile industry.
Wow.
That really laid the groundwork for their future economic success.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So not what you'd expect, right?
Not at all.
Things aren't always what they seem with Liechtenstein.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then in 1866, they dissolved their army.
What?
Yeah, their last soldier, Andreas Keeper, became this kind of national legend.
I mean, what does that say about their
I know, it's so interesting.
mindset at the time?
I think it speaks volumes about their approach to national security.
Yeah.
They were banking on peace and diplomacy to ensure their survival rather than military might.
Interesting gamble.
It's a gamble that paid off for a while.
For a while.
But then, of course, World War I.
Oh, yeah. That changes things.
Threw everything into turmoil.
Everybody.
Their economy was hit hard.
Yeah.
The documentary even mentions that the prince had to sell off family jewels.
Wow.
To avoid bankruptcy.
Desperate times.
Talk about desperate times.
Yeah.
So it was a turning point that forced them to rethink their economic strategy entirely.
Okay.
And that's when they forged a closer relationship with Switzerland.
Ah, Switzerland.
Adopting the Swiss franc as their currency.
Interesting.
Yeah. Big move.
It marked a shift away from Austria.
Okay.
And the beginning of the strategic partnership.
Yeah.
That would have lasting implications.
Yes, for sure.
So this brings us up to World War II.
And Liechtenstein, alongside Switzerland, became a haven for protecting Jewish assets from Nazi confiscation. Their bank secrecy laws served as a shield.
Interesting.
But like any shield, it can be used for both good and bad.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So while it helped some escape persecution, those same bank secrecy laws attracted individuals with less noble intentions.
Yeah, it's that duality. You know, the potential for both good and bad. That makes Liechtenstein so fascinating.
For sure.
Yeah.
So after the war, they experienced this remarkable economic boom.
I would have thought banking again.
Me too.
Yeah.
But the documentary highlights their focus on niche industrial products.
Okay, like what?
Like Hilti hammer drills.
Hilti.
Ivoclar Vivident's artificial teeth.
Artificial teeth.
And even those Nutric audio jacks.
Oh, yeah.
That like famous musicians use.
The Nutric jacks are everywhere.
I know.
That's a great example. Right. It's like they became a global leader. In that very specific market.
Right.
It speaks to their ingenuity. Like they found a way to carve out a space for themselves in a really competitive world.
Yeah. It's fascinating how they combine that innovative spirit with, let's be honest, a certain level of financial secrecy.
Yeah.
It's this unexpected blend.
It is,
that really shaped their journey.
Absolutely.
Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, but that secrecy starts to cast a bit of a shadow. In the 70s and 80s.
Okay.
Untaxed money starts pouring in. Largely due to their foundation system and those bank secrecy laws.
Okay, so more to Liechtenstein's financial system?
Oh, yeah.
Than just banks.
Way more.
Okay.
Yeah. So foundations are these legal entities. They can hold assets, much like a company.
Okay.
But unlike a company, they don't have shareholders.
Okay. But then who controls them?
They're controlled by a board of trustees who manage the assets according to the founder's wishes. But here's the key. The founder's identity can be kept completely confidential.
I see where this is going.
Anonymity.
Yeah.
That's a powerful tool.
For anyone looking to shield their wealth.
Yeah, exactly.
From scrutiny.
And that's what made these Liechtenstein foundations so attractive to individuals or companies seeking to avoid taxes. Or just hide their wealth. It creates this perfect storm leading to an influx of untaxed money. Which, of course, fuels economic growth. But raises some...
some ethical
questions.
For sure. And those questions came to a head with Klaus Lind.
Klaus Lind.
Who was this whistleblower. Who exposed Liechtenstein's tax haven status in the 1990s.
Wow.
His actions sparked international outrage. And had a huge impact on the country's reputation.
It's a great example of how individual action can really challenge powerful systems.
Totally. So they couldn't ignore it any longer.
Not at all. They had to clean up their act if they wanted to maintain their standing in the global financial system.
So they introduced this clean money strategy.
Clean money strategy.
Increasing transparency. To shed that tax haven label.
So they're still working on shaking off that image.
It seems like it.
Long road to rebuild trust. And it raises questions about, you know, the long-term sustainability of their financial model.
For sure. But even as they were grappling with these challenges, there was another surprising twist in Liechtenstein's story.
All right. I'm intrigued.
One that highlights a very different kind of struggle. It has something to do with how long it took for women to get the right to vote there.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming.
Liechtenstein was the last European country to grant women's suffrage. And it didn't happen until 1984.
1984? That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Considering all
the other economic and technological advancements they'd made by then.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So that's a stark contrast to their progressive image in other areas.
It makes you think about
what was going on.
The deep-rooted social and political structures that might have been holding them back.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll have to dig into that. So we were talking about...
Yeah, it's hard to believe that those arguments were still prevailing.
It's wild.
In a country as advanced as Liechtenstein. In so many other ways.
Really shows you that, you know, societal progress doesn't always happen. At the same pace on all fronts.
Totally.
Yeah.
So how did they finally achieve suffrage?
Well, they didn't give up. They organized protests,
Yeah.
petitions, campaigns.
Wow.
They even sought support from the European Council.
Really?
To put pressure on their own government.
Wow. So they had to go outside for help.
Kind of.
That's wild.
It's a powerful example of how sometimes international pressure can be a catalyst for change.
Totally. So they had to fight for a right that many others took for granted.
Absolutely.
It's crazy.
Makes their victory even more significant.
For sure. It's incredible how Liechtenstein's history is full of these unexpected turns.
It is.
From witch hunts to Napoleonic reforms. From textiles to a global financial hub built on secrecy.
It's a story that challenges our preconceived notions.
Totally.
And reveals a complexity that we often overlook.
It's like we see countries through a single lens.
Yeah, like banking with Liechtenstein.
Right, but their story reminds us that
there's always more.
There's always more beneath the surface.
Beneath the surface.
It's like peeling back the layers of an onion. Each layer reveals something new and surprising.
And when you look at the whole onion, you get a much richer understanding.
You get the full picture
of what it truly is.
Exactly. And that's what makes this so fascinating.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've gone beyond the headlines.
We have.
And explored the intricate factors that shape their journey.
The good, the bad, the unexpected.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, maybe not ugly.
Okay, well,
it definitely
complicated.
Yeah. We've seen how their adaptability and willingness to reinvent themselves played a crucial role in their survival and success.
For sure.
From embracing industrialization to forging strategic partnerships. They were never afraid to shift gears. When circumstances demanded it.
That flexibility has been their strength.
Yeah, for sure. But their story also forces us to confront
some uncomfortable truths.
Right. Like, can a nation built on both innovation and financial secrecy
truly claim to be a role model?
That's a tough one.
I know.
Where do we draw the line between financial privacy and accountability?
That's a good question.
It's a question that a lot of nations grapple with, not just Liechtenstein.
For sure. And it's not just about governments and institutions either.
No, it's about
individual choices.
Individual choices, exactly.
Like Claus Lend.
Right.
Risking his career to expose what he saw as wrongdoing.
It takes courage to stand up for what you believe in.
Totally. Especially when
powerful forces are at play.
Exactly. Their story is a reminder that history is never black and white. It's full of shades of gray, of unintended consequences, of choices that shape not only the present, but also the future.
Absolutely. And it's through understanding these complexities that we can gain a more nuanced perspective on the world.
I think you're right.
Liechtenstein's journey, from struggling farmers to wealthy bankers, offers a glimpse into the forces that drive change, the challenges of balancing progress with responsibility.
Totally.
And the power of individual action.
It's been a fascinating dive.
It has.
I feel like I've learned so much about a country.
Me too.
I knew very little about before.
And I hope it sparks some curiosity in our listeners to learn more, not just about Liechtenstein, but about the hidden stories behind the headlines, the forces that shape our world, and the power we each have to make a difference.
Well said. So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive, I'm curious to hear your final thoughts.
Okay.
What are some key takeaways from Liechtenstein's journey?
Key takeaways.
And what lessons can we apply to our understanding of the world today?
Well, I think the biggest takeaway is that we should never underestimate the complexity of even the smallest nations. Liechtenstein's story is a powerful reminder that there's always more to learn, more to uncover.
And that progress isn't always a straight line.
No, it's not.
They've had their triumphs and their setbacks.
For sure.
Moments of brilliance and periods of controversy.
That's what makes them so compelling.
It's that blend of contradictions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think beyond the specifics of Liechtenstein, their journey highlights this enduring tension between innovation and secrecy, between individual rights and societal norms.
And it forces us to confront the ethical dilemmas inherent in a globalized financial system.
Big questions.
Big questions.
Yeah.
But they're questions we all need to grapple with.
We do.
Regardless of where we live or what we do.
Absolutely.
So Liechtenstein might be small.
Tiny.
But their story has a lot to teach us.
Yeah.
About the world we live in.
It's a story of resilience.
Yeah.
Adaptability. And this constant struggle to balance progress.
Yeah.
With ethical responsibility.
It's been a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
Wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. It's certainly left me with a lot to think about.
Yeah.
And I hope it's done the same for our listeners.
I'm sure it has.
Yeah.
But before we say goodbye, one final question for you.
All right, you.
Do you think Liechtenstein has truly reformed? Or are there still aspects of their financial system that warrant scrutiny?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, they've taken steps to increase transparency, shed that tax haven image, but whether those changes are sufficient, that's a matter of debate.
That's for sure. And that's where our listeners come in.
Yeah, exactly.
We've explored the history.
We have.
We've examined the complexities. And now it's up to each individual to form their own conclusions.
What do you think?
What do you think has Liechtenstein truly turned over a new leaf?
Yeah.
Or are there still shadows lurking beneath the surface?
It's a question worth pondering.
Yeah.
And it's a reminder that even in a world of instant information, there's always more to uncover.
Totally.
More to question.
Yeah.
And more to learn.
Well said. And on that note, we'll wrap up our deep dive into the fascinating world of Liechtenstein.
Sounds good.
We hope you've enjoyed the journey
as
much as we have.
It's been a pleasure.
Until next time.
Keep exploring and remember, there's always more to discover.
Their story really makes you think,
It does.
About the trade-offs between economic prosperity and ethical considerations.
For sure.
Like, is it even possible to have one without sacrificing the other?
It's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of nations grapple with that, not just Liechtenstein.
They've achieved a high standard of living for their citizens.
Yeah.
But at what cost?
Right. But was it worth it? Yeah. That's the tough part. And it's not just about governments and institutions.
It's about
individual choices, too.
Individual choices.
Like Klaus Lind.
Right.
The whistleblower.
Yeah, he risked his career.
To expose
the wrongdoing.
Yeah, it takes courage to stand up.
It does.
To what you believe in.
Yeah.
Especially when powerful forces are at play.
Absolutely. His actions had a ripple effect, though.
They did.
You know, they forced Liechtenstein to confront their past.
Right.
And take steps toward reform.
So it shows that individuals can make a difference. Even when facing huge challenges.
Absolutely.
I think their story is a good reminder that history is never black and white.
It's messy.
Yeah, it's full of shades of gray.
Unintended consequences.
Yeah, and choices that shape the future.
It's true, and I think it's by understanding these complexities that we can gain a more nuanced perspective on the world. Liechtenstein's journey is a good example.
It is.
From struggling farmers to these wealthy bankers.
Right. It gives us a glimpse into what drives change.
The challenges of progress.
Yeah.
And the power of individual action.
That's right. It's been fascinating.
It has been.
I feel like I've learned so much.
Me too, about a country I knew very little about.
I hope it sparked a curiosity in our listeners to dig a little deeper themselves about, the hidden stories.
Yeah, the stuff behind the headlines.
Yeah, the things that shape our world.
And how we can each make a difference.
Exactly.
Well, on that note,
all right,
we'll wrap up our deep dive.
Sounds good.
Into the fascinating world of Liechtenstein.
Always more to discover.
We hope you enjoyed the journey.
Yeah, thanks for listening.